Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. We're going to talk about Black Myth Wukong today, which by the time you read this, it should be out on all platforms, I think. Or watch this, I mean. It should be out on all platforms. I know it's releasing today on the PlayStation, and if I'm not mistaken, it's already out on PC. Maybe that was just early access. I'm not sure. Whatever. Well, let's cue up the music and we'll get right to it. Alright, so Black Myth Wukong developer Game Science reportedly bans content creators from including politics and feminist propaganda. This is kind of funny, and it's kind of, okay. The game looks cool, right? So I'm in a real conundrum right now with video games, because video games are just a hot mess right now. It's awful what's going on in the industry. I mean, it's really pathetic. You've got the Western developers just crapping to bed left and right with DEI-infused games from all, left and right, and they're awful. They're absolutely awful. Every time one comes out, they're just failing left and right, and it's just an absolute shit show here in the West. Japan is starting to do the same thing. They're starting to embrace that whole DEI agenda, and it's going to lower the quality of games there. We're looking at South Korea and China right now to be like maybe the last bastion of hope for video games that aren't all shot to hell and full of DEI propaganda. Now, South Korea's great, great country and all that, wonderful country. China's communists, man, and I don't like communism. I can't stand it. I hate American communism. It's the worst. These idiots here that think communism is the greatest thing in the world, and capitalism bad, communism good. They're a bunch of ignorant a-holes, and it's just pathetic. But, here we are, 2024. And I'm considering this game a lot. I've gone back and forth on it. I've read the reviews. The reviews sound good, even though some people are bashing it a little bit. But it's getting bashed by the companies that you would figure bashing it would come from. I think one of them I saw, somebody gave a point because there wasn't enough diversity in it. It's monkeys! But dude, what do you want? You want some bears? Some chickens? I don't know, man. It's just absolute craziness what these people will consider. When you're looking at a game. Like, all right, for instance, for the first time in a long, long time, I went to the movies this past weekend. I went up to GCX in Orlando for like a little conference for content creators and YouTubers and stuff like that, and video game industry. It was fantastic. While I was up there, I said, you know what? Let's go see Alien Romulus. I haven't seen a movie in a theater for so long. I haven't been inspired to see a movie in a theater for so long because they've been garbage lately. It's just absolute garbage for the most part. Every now and then something good will come out, but 99% of the time it's bad. It's full of DEI, it's race swapping, it's, yada yada. So I went to see this movie, and it was good. Alien Romulus was good. The ending, I didn't like the ending a little much. I'm not going to give you any spoilers or anything like that. But, I wasn't really fond of the ending, and there were some other things in there that were, okay. But for the most part, it gave me the movie I wanted. There was a little too many callbacks to other movies, and, it got a little cheesy here and there, but whatever. It is what it is. But it did deal with... Alve Federez, the director, did put some modern politics in there, or a little bit of politics in there, I should say. Not necessarily modern, but I guess you could say it. In his choosing of the characters and what they were doing. And the characters in the movie were looking to leave a bad place and go to a better place, right? And they were willing to risk everything to do it. So it's kind of like playing on the whole illegal immigration thing here in the United States, how people will travel from the tip of South America all the way up through Central America to get to the border of Texas to try and get in and seek asylum here in the U.S. And I guess that's what he was going for with it. But it was done in a way that it didn't beat you over the head with it. It didn't put the modern politics into it and force it down your throat. It was just, these are the characters. This is the story. They want to go from point A, where they live in a crappy place. They want to move to a better place. They're on their own. They're all young. They're all like teenagers, it looked like, which was interesting, or early 20s at most. And they want to travel, and they want to go, and they're going to do something very stupid and very dangerous but they're doing it because they don't have a future where they are. And that was fantastic. It was a great way to give people that commentary without beating them over the head with it. And if video games would do that, video games would start doing that instead of beating you over the head with a message, so to speak, they'd be a lot better, So I don't know much about Black Myth Wukong other than it looks interesting and fun. I'll probably end up getting it, maybe not the first week, but maybe, a little bit down the road when I see some more reviews come out and all that. I'll be a little bit more careful with things. It's just, I'm tired of spending my money and giving it to people who hate me. And, I feel like a lot of these studios just hate me because I'm just that straight white guy and I'm not their person of color and all that. But anyway, let's read about what they did here. So a screenshot of what appears to be some sort of content agreement was shared to X by legal analyst Andrew Esquire, aka Legal Mindset. The agreement informs content creators that they cannot, let's look at it here. Notice, by using the game key and creating content, you acknowledge that you have been informed of the following content and your statements are not related to the marketing team. Do's and don'ts. Do enjoy the game. Don't. Do not insult other influencers or players. Do not use any offensive language or humor. Do not include politics, violence, nudity, feminist propaganda, fetishization, and other content that instigates negative discourse. Do not use trigger words such as quarantine or isolation or COVID-19. Do not discuss content related to China's game industry policies, opinions, news, etc. Wow, if that doesn't reek of communism, what does? I mean, that's terrible right there. And that right there really turns me off for buying a game at this point in time. Yeah, it's funny to see the words feminist propaganda in there, because we're all tired of feminists and they're yapping and just shut up. But, the rest of it, do not include nudity. I mean, what are we going to do? Make my review while I'm naked or stream the game naked? Politics, violence. The game is violent in nature. It's just so weird what they put in here. But here's where it really gets funny. Quarantine, isolation, and COVID-19, right? Because we know what y'all did back in 2019 there, guys. We know you guys screwed up. I know my guys here in the U.S., I know my taxpayer dollars went to paying for that stuff and to help create that weapon. But you guys freaking dropped the ball. Somebody spilled it and carried it outside on their shoe, and it ended up at a wet market and ended up all over the world, and everybody went crazy. So, yeah, a lot of people had to go to quarantine and live in isolation for a while because of COVID-19. Yeah, I'll never be able to get a key from the game science, and that's fine. I don't want to be anyway. But damn, I mean, that's some weird things to say there. So, Black Myth Wukong and its developers at Game Science have been subject to a smear campaign from numerous media outlets, including IGN, The Guardian, and GameSpot. Now, I'm going to go back and say, I'm all for this game. I hope it does well. I hope it's successful and all that. I find that statement there to be very humorous, and I'm sure it's not from the developer as much as it's from the actual CCCP, the Communist Party of China. Hold on, I got a dog making a weird noise in the background. Alright, so Black Myth Wukong and its developers at Game Science have been subject to a smear campaign from numerous media outlets, including IGN, The Guardian, and GameSpot. Initially, IGN's Rebecca Valentine and Ki-Hu Chan initially ran an article accusing the developers of sexism. The duo reported several posts have resurfaced from Chinese social media site Weibo, written by individuals from the studio that contain multiple references to genitalia and sexual innuendos. They also stated this was coupled by recruitment posters by the studio produced in 2015, which featured images and headlines that point to a culture of ingrained sexism in game science. Well, you know what? That's their culture over there. That's the way they run things over there. They're not going to follow your rules. I know you assholes can't stand it when people don't bow to you and your feelings and what you want, everyone to do and have the words you want everyone to use and the pronouns and all that. I know it just eats you guys alive that there are people that actually will flip the bird to you and be like, nah, screw you, I'm not listening to your crap. So, of course, you're going to bash them. Whatever, guys. The article provides no evidence these headlines are posters. However, it does give descriptions. In one poster, a risque illustration that resembles the artwork of Austrian artist Egon Schiele is accompanied by a header that says mandatory self-pleasure. In another poster that featured the rear view of a woman, the ad reads, "Don't screw your colleagues." In the same ad, friends with benefits were also implied as an office perk, and a third poster featuring a dumbbell is far more pointed with the ad, stating that fatties should F off. Wow. So it provides it does give descriptions. So it describes these posters, but there's no pictures of them or evidence that they do exist other than that. Interesting. The report also claimed that co-founder Game Science, Feng Ji, said in a post to Chinese social media website Weibo, "I want to expand my circle and hire more people. Get licked until I can't get an erection." It also alleges he wrote, "I know you just happen to be a little depressed. It is my honor to provide you with some comfort in the lower half of your body." Furthermore, the report claims he wrote, "I got wet after watching it a couple times. The pressure in my crotch is immense." Okay. The report also took issue with developer's co-founder and lead artist Jiang Qi, declaring that men and women are biologically different. Wow, go figure. I had no idea that was a thing. The report alleged that he wrote that men were holding a heavy machine gun and shooting at governments in our dreams, when the ladies are dreaming about our bags that would make their friends jealous. He then concluded the post by suggesting that he would need to put on silk stockings and suspenders to work, brew chrysanthemum tea, and put a humidifier in his table to make soft and effeminate things. So anyway, these posts and all that, they're, that first one was kind of disturbing about getting licked until he can't get an erection and all that, but I mean, whatever the case may be, he's a perv. It is what it is, right? The second one's even funnier, though, because, men dream of, overthrowing the governments while women dream of bags that will make their friends jealous. He's probably not too far off there. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, finally, it accused technical artist Daiwei of claiming that players can masturbate to a female character in the game by looking at her more. It alleges he wrote, "Although I'm not used to the snake neck, I can still nurture that fetish." What the hell? These translations have been called into questions. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know who's translating this stuff. If you use like an AI translator, man, stuff comes out wonky sometimes. I mean, just go in and put stuff in to make a picture and you'll get some wonky results sometimes based off of how it interprets what you've written. I can't imagine what these translators are doing. It's pretty wild. But they've been called into question. A clip from Asmongold Clips notes that Feng Ji's comment is used as an idiom in the Chinese language, as a colloquial expression used humorously or sarcastically to describe a situation where excessive flattery or sycophancy is an overwhelming and paralyzing effect on someone. The use of such metaphors can be found in informal speech on social media. The video also alleges that other posts were translated in the most uncharitable way possible in order to push the narrative that the developer is sexist and misogynist. Here's the thing. Here in the United States, if you come from somewhere else, our journalists will lie about everything. And it's not just games journalists. It's the regular journalists that cover politics and events going on in the country. It's the sportscasters. It's every journalist here is a liar in the United States, for the most part. I'm sure there are some good ones out there that are reliable and trustworthy to some degree, but for the most part, they all seem to have an agenda that they support, and they will twist and turn that news until it bleeds to make it fit their agenda sometimes. So I can't imagine, and this is using, our native tongue here, right? If somebody says something, they will take it out of context and twist what it means. And one of the greatest examples of that is back in, I think it was 2016, President Trump was talking about, what was it, South Carolina. There was a protest going on and the counter protest there, and it was over the taking down of a statue, and the protesters that wanted the statue taken down, were left leaning and all that, whereas the ones on the right included some white supremacists and all that, possibly, right? And then, President Trump, at the time, I don't think he was president yet, stated, he was talking about the actual debate over whether or not to take down the statue. He says there are good people on both sides of this conversation, right? Talking about taking it down, not the protesters, but the actual press made it about the protesters saying, oh, he likes white supremacists, look at that, yada, yada, yada. So if they're doing that to English, I can't imagine how they're butchering Chinese translated in English by AI. That's insane. Anyway, IGN doubled down on the accusations as part of their Black Myth Wukong first impression article. Valentine wrote a section addressing the outlet's report from November. She stated, last year, we published a comprehensive report on IGN detailing a number of sexist and inappropriate remarks made by multiple developers of Black Myth Wukong, including those in leadership roles at Game Science. As of the publication of this preview, Game Science has yet to provide any response or statement addressing our report or their past remarks. If I was those guys, I'd tell her to fuck off personally. I'd be like, you know what, fuck you. I don't care what you think. After detailing how she enjoyed the preview of the game at Summer Game Fest, Valentine added, it is also true that several of the people who are making it have made disparaging remarks about women and don't seem to be interested either in retracting these past statements or in supporting the numerous women who are being harassed in online conversations about Black Myth Wukong purely for expressing their discomfort with those statements. Both of these ideas can exist simultaneously. What audiences want to do about this conflict is ultimately their choice. See, now Valentine makes me want to buy this game, okay? So here's my conflict. I hate these people so much. There's these crybaby self-victimizers that just want to go out there. Like, here they go. They go ahead and they crap all over this game and create some issues and all that. And then they're like mad that they won't address this, what they've said. You know, it's like, well, we want. And then they get mad at gamers for coming at them and going, well, you guys are idiots. Leave them alone. Let them run their business and do things however they want to do. I mean, we don't care, right? That's communist China. Why don't you talk about something important that communist China is doing, like enslaving people and stuff like that, right? No, I just don't care about that. You'll talk about slavery all day in America and reparations and all that, but you won't address modern day slavery happening in modern day China, but you're going to cry over some guy being a little misogynistic, or at least that's what you guys are assuming he's being. We haven't really seen any direct evidence of that. All right, anyway, she then concluded, one last note, I didn't see any women or femme-coded characters in the demo. And I was able to confirm from Game Science that there were none present in the section of the game presented to the press. There will be women in the final game, but for now, it is impossible to really comment on whether or not Game Science developers expressed beliefs permeate Black Myth Wukong in a meaningful way. Oh my god. You guys are the worst. These accusations were repeated in Tom Reagan's coverage of the game in The Guardian. Reagan wrote, I am unfortunately met with very little honest communication when I bring up a report from IGN which related alleged sexist comments from multiple developers at Game Science as well as those in leadership roles. He then referenced an interaction with one of Game Science's co-founders, who he refers to as Ted. I present Ted with the opportunity to address the claims of misogynistic posts and whether he feels that they represent Game Science's values. Instead, I am shut down with a hasty no comment from their UK PR representative, and then, after a long wait, given a longer statement of no comment via Ted's translator. I am then told that Game Science's US PR agency will follow up later with a prepared statement only to be sent the following. Game Science is focused on the demo at the time and will only answer questions related to gameplay, Reagan wrote. Congratulations, Reagan. That's the way to do it. That's the way. Yeah, there's your answer. Ask them about the gameplay. Who cares about what's going on in their offices over there? Again, China's a whole different world than the US. A whole different world. Okay? There are things going on over there that we can't even imagine over here. And you're worried about posters in a development studio and how many women are in a game. You freaking cuck. Anyway, GameSpot also pushed these claims in a recent video titled Black Myth Wukong, Everything to Know. In the video, the narrator states, it should be noted that allegations against Game Science have surfaced over the years via reports of the developer fostering a sexist culture and work environment, with numerous women in the Chinese gaming community highlighting these problems within the studio, as well as backlash following crude and controversial social media posts by Game Science co-founder Ji Feng. It adds, as of this recording, Game Science has repeatedly refused to comment on the allegations, although it has removed some of the offensive wording in its marketing materials that has contributed to the misogynistic culture. The narrator then directs Tom Reagan's aforementioned coverage in The Guardian. Despite these smears, gamers have shown intense interest in the game. It's not despite, it's because of these smears. The game is the most wishlisted upcoming game on SteamDB's charts. It has over 623,000 followers, more than double the second most wishlisted game Hollow Knight Silksong, which has 296,000 followers. Furthermore, the game's benchmark tool hit 85,277 peak concurrent players when it launched on Steam earlier this week. The benchmark tool is non-playable and allows players to check their PC's hardware performance and compatibility when running the game, and allows players to customize benchmark settings to preview game visuals and performance under different graphic options. That's pretty wild. What do you make of the alleged content creator agreement that bans politics and feminist propaganda? Yeah, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. Again, I'm not going to sit there and bro this and be like, oh yeah, this is cool because of the feminist propaganda. I mean, that part is funny, but overall, this is very disturbing. This reeks of the CCCP, not of game science. This is not game science asking you this. This is the Chinese government telling you this. This is the Chinese government trying to extend its control overseas and control what you say and do. And that's bad. I don't like that. I don't want to control anybody. I don't want to be controlled by anybody, let alone some foreign government. I can barely stand doing what my government wants me to do. We won't even go into that. But yeah, to have some foreign government come in and tell me I can't use this. I mean, what? Okay, let's look at these. Don't insult other influencers or players. What do you mean by that? I mean, if I make a video about it and I say something bad, now again, this is the ones that got the game key and creating content. I guess the preview of the game. I don't think this is for everybody. Or is it? Is this for guys to get a game key when we buy it? I don't know. That's kind of weird, but don't insult other influencers or players. So if I see somebody make a video on it that's just crapping all over it, I can't refute that and insult them and say, well, man, that guy was stupid. It doesn't, it really doesn't seem that way. Don't use any offensive language or humor. Well, there you go. That's totally subjective. So who's to say what's offensive, in language, and especially humor? Don't include politics. What? I mean, everything is political these days, but I get it, and I'm glad that's in there. I would hate, I'm tired of politics and everything. If there's none in the game, I wouldn't throw any in there. Violence, nudity, feminist propaganda. It's just so wild. Somebody said the fetishization is because of what happened with Stellar Blade, one of these wanky journalists or something like that, which cracked me up. But yeah. And these trigger words, they really, really crack me up. Anyway, what do you think down below about Black Myth Wukong? You planning on getting the game or not? I'm really thinking about it. Despite my distaste for supporting anything that comes out of communist China, will my distaste for modern journalists here in the United States eclipse that and make me pull the trigger? I don't know right now. Tell me down in the comments, should I buy it or shouldn't I? All right, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Please leave a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.